He's born.
50 CE.
Well, they use CE now.
What's with CE? I thought it was AD.
I thought it was BC and AD.
Yeah, but we changed it.
Yeah.
Different Latin words.
Yeah, so I was Googling Epictetus after reading that book, which you so graciously gifted to me, which I loved. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. What's it called? The manual?
The manual.
Yeah.
So it's like a translation of his teachings. And this guy wrote a foreword, which was pretty cool too. He's just like...
Yeah, it was really good.
He's like, this is just my interpretation of what's going on. Like, but just keep in mind...
Epictetus didn't write anything. His student did.
Right. So I was kind of digging in on this guy.
Yeah.
And he sounded like the father of Stoicism. Like the...
Oh, yeah.
But apparently there was a guy before him, which his name escapes me. But
there's always a guy before the guy.
Yeah. But this Epictetus is kind of like...
Yeah,
he's the one who taught through just oration. Mm-hmm. And his students went on to teach Marcus Aurelius, and like those teachings from Epictetus are like definitely in the Meditations by Marcus Aurelius. But yeah, I mean, a lot of the things that we've discussed on this pod, I've noticed there's an overlap in the Venn diagram with what Epictetus is saying. He's like, control what you can control. What you can control is your emotions and your responses. You can't control what happens in life. So don't say stuff like, I can't believe this is happening. Just say like, how am I responding to what's happening? There's a quote that he put in there that I love the most. He said, along these lines, he's like, don't wish that things will go well with you in life. Wish that you will go well with all things.
Yeah.
I like that.
I mean, there are so many one-liners in that book. It's incredible. And like, it is a really short read. We're talking about like, you can read it in an hour and a half.
Yeah, I knocked it out. And I knocked it out in it was like a one sitting that I was like kind of getting on the edge of my doability. I'm like, I got like 3/4 of the way. I'm like, you got this far. Come on, just finish.
Yeah. Was it a bunch of letters, or was it in the form of a book, like a long essay or something?
It's a book.
It's a book, but it's kind of like each page is a lesson. And
it's like a bunch of rules,
and each lesson is pretty short.
Yeah,
so
very short.
It's kind of like 60 rules.
It's just notes that his student basically took and captured during his lifetime of his work. And he was born a slave. Mm-hmm. That's the most interesting thing about Epictetus. Probably my favorite philosopher. Yeah.
Wow, that changes a lot about what he taught.
Exactly. Like his circumstances did not shape. Obviously, they had an impact on his outlook, but he chose to view his circumstances differently and not like overly identify with them, and literally became a philosopher and arguably the godfather of like not just Stoicism, but like all modern personal development and taking the responsibility of the world and placing it upon yourself and not being a victim and choosing your journey and your meaning. Even like you could draw a thread from Man's Search for Meaning. Incredible book.
Haven't read that one.
To Epictetus. You know, it's the same ideas.
Okay, so I feel like I have a bit of stoicism in me just from, I don't know, call it like a talent or something. I don't know what you'd call it. It's just like I'm not a student of the game. Mm-hmm. But I think for me, coming from where I am and reading this book now, I feel like this book is maybe like the first domino for me to actually dig in further and learn more.
I think you'll love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was just thinking, what's the next step? Is it like Seneca's letters with
could
Epictetus?
Be. I'm not a huge Seneca person, but it could be. I know Tim Ferriss is, for example. Could be Marcus Aurelius.
Meditations.
Could be Meditations.
You could do the modern version, which is like the obstacle is the way. What's the guy's author? What's the author's name?
Ryan Holiday.
Ryan Holiday.
Yeah, I think that the Gregory Hayes translation of, Meditations is phenomenal. And it's worth reading the original, but
he translates it from Latin to English.
Yeah, there's many versions of the book, but the Gregory Hayes translation is the alpha.
Okay.
Yeah. Important.
It's a good time of the year to get some reading done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
On the
thought so
holidays.
too.
Yeah.
I thought so too.
Yeah. Well, good to see you guys.
Yeah,
I just saw Nick for the first time in a week.
We saw each other, passed each other in the office. I gave him a salute. Then looked like we needed a hug, so we hugged, and then we went our separate ways.
And then I held the hug a little longer.
You guys are just in
Hold me.
grind mode, huh?
Hold me. This guy's been everywhere. I'm in absolute grind mode. It's like everyone else is just chilling out for the holidays.
Yeah, we had some holiday
Taking
parties
it
over the
slow.
weekend, and Nick was like, "I've just had a long week."
I just need to be home.
Yeah, you need to
Yeah.
take 5.
Epictetus was with me this week, unless last week.
Yeah.
I appreciate it.
I missed the 4 a.m. holiday party.
Yeah, you guys were invited.
Thank you for that.
Yeah,
Mhm.
thank you. Did you have fun?
It was good. It was chill. We had
Bonding?
we had an amazing charcuterie board. There were full racks of like beef ribs and a huge pile of tri-tip on there.
Wow.
My type of charcuterie board.
Hell yeah.
And they did the style where you saran wrap the entire table and just use the entire thing.
Just use the table.
Yeah.
Who needs plates?
Yeah, there's no
You don't need
board.
plates.
The
I
board
remember
is
when
the
we went
whole
to
thing.
No, this thing
Andres.
was enormous. It was the size of like a massive picnic table.
Yeah. Remember when we went to Andres
That was my first intro to this
Yeah.
lifestyle.
to just
This style.
saran wrap the
wrapping.
table? But that was phenomenal because it was a Brazilian sushi chef. I can say
Yeah.
that 3 times fast. Brazilian sushi chef. And that was so good, man. It was so good.
That was very
It was like
memorable.
all you can eat sushi. Yeah.
Chat wants to know what book you were talking about.
Well, the book originally is called something else, but the version that Armand got for me is called The Manual.
Okay.
And the manual is this one author's interpretation of what was going on in the original teachings, which are called
The discourses or something.
the discourses.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like 2, but the discourses is one of them. But it was great.
Why do we have a champagne in front of us, by the way?
Because I'm about to drink it.
Okay. It was
I'm going
just
to pop it on camera, and my goal is to hit the camera lens with the cork.
then
Is
we're
it
done.
cold enough?
I don't know.
I think so.
It's been chilling.
Do you have to spin it? Is that the physics?
Put salt in it.
We put salt in it.
In
Does
the
that
water.
help?
I have no idea. It seemed like a good idea.
You got to get me popping this.
Yo, you're in there, kinda. There you go.
All right. There you go.
I feel like I should be blocking myself or wearing some kind of safety goggle.
Up in the rafters.
Whoa! Did that break through the?
I think it
we
got pretty.
break the ceiling.
It got pretty up there.
Wow.
Nice job.
Lukewarm champagne.
Needs a little time.
All right, well, then let's give a shout out to our sponsor. Go to zbiotics.com/alfalfa. Use the code alfalfa at checkout to get the pre-alcohol probiotic. It's the drink you drink before you drink. Before you drink. Saw Armand pop some. There's actually a empty bottle right there. Eric, show for the proof.
Proof of zbiotics.
Proof of zbiotics. Yeah, there's a nasty toxin
Acetaldehyde.
that wreaks havoc in your gut when you drink. And that's what makes you feel like a little crap in the morning. It's not the dehydration, so you can take all your dehydration powder or rehydration powder you want. But the pre-alcohol probiotic is the one that's going to help you feel a little better in the morning so you can get your workout done, get to work, whatever you need to do, hang out with the family. And the holiday season's coming up. We have Christmas and New Year's.
Oh my God. I gotta stock
So
up.
it's a good time to reload. Probably the best time
Zbiotics,
to reload. So if you use the code alfalfa at checkout, you get 15% off. I think they have a 3-pack. They got a 6-pack in there.
10-pack?
10-pack, 12-pack.
Enterprise customer.
Yeah. Always go for the big boy.
One for every day of the week.
Oh, always go for the big boy. But yeah, check it out. Let us know how it worked for you guys in the Discord. It's worked really well for the community so far, and I'm sure it will. But if it doesn't, they'll give you your money back. So thanks, Zbiotics, for sponsoring the pod.
Today was one of those days I panicked to make sure I could find one. I was like, there was one in my luggage. There was one in my pantry. I was like, where are all my Zbiotics? Like, I cannot wake up on a Thursday and feel like shit. There's nothing worse than that.
If I'm missing one, I'll go digging through other people's drawers here at the office. Just like, I know there's...
So you got the office on them too?
Yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
So critical to success.
Hell yeah.
Got a bunch of heathens here. Got to keep them productive.
Yeah.
Well, it's the last pod of the year.
I like
my
these.
Boys.
I like these end of year.
Because next week is Christmas Eve and then New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we won't be recording on either of those.
Yeah.
Oh, we got to go hard then. We got to deliver.
Should we just?
We got to deliver 3 weeks of alpha.
What did Eric say we replay last time during episodes where we're not here? Is it the guns
and porn always?
Guns and porn is like the Christmas story.
Guns and porn always is like that's our. I feel like that's a Christmas story.
Just us yelling about guns and porn over each other.
It's like
yeah.
If you play it on Thanksgiving, that's like Charlie Brown and the Big Pumpkin.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, so we might have some replays during that time, but yeah, last pod. I figure we could start with some goal planning stuff, annual planning. I know you guys like to do some.
Hell yeah.
I did some unexpectedly yesterday. I was in a Vistage meeting, and they had us do some planning, and the guy pulled straight from Tim Ferriss's review. So I wanted to go over it with you guys, see what you guys think of this. Armand, you and I have done something similar to this, but I hadn't actually done his very specific exercise, and I thought it was really useful.
I feel like I need to do this as we do this.
I did it last year. I did this exact one last year.
Okay, so
This
let
exercise?
me give a breakdown. So you grab a notepad, essentially, put 2 columns, positive and negative, and then you go through your calendar for last year, all of 2025, essentially week by week. And for most people, like I think, like for me at least, a lot of my stuff is in the calendar, so you can kind of see what you did, who you hung out with, whatever. And for each week, you jot down any people or things you did or places you went, commitments you made that triggered kind of like peak positive or negative emotions. And then you just start like jotting them down in the columns. And then once you go through the whole year, you kind of ask yourself, okay, what was the 80-20 of this? What was the 20% of experiences, people, activities that produced the most reliable and powerful peaks? And then this is the action part, which is you kind of schedule your 2026 now. So if it was like, let's say, taking a trip, you would try to get that trip on the calendar within the first week or two of 2026 so that your year kind of moves around these things that you know are going to produce these positive moments for yourself.
So are you running back the same trip that gave you so much pleasure?
Or it could be a similar trip. It could be the fact that you just took a trip.
The fact that you went on a trip.
Yeah. Like I was talking to a buddy. We saw an artist in, where is it, in Joshua Tree at, man, what is the name of that venue? It's an epic venue. Patty and Harriet's? Something like that. I forget the exact name. But anyway, I was like, they're back. Should we go? He's like, we'd be like chasing the high again. We'll never really live up to it. So I think you just know, like, okay, it was a outdoor concert venue thing that I liked. And
Well, you have a little black book.
Yeah, I do.
That's
Got my notes.
That's good.
Rumorings.
So how long?
Some journaling.
How long did you guys take?
Not long.
At your Vistage meeting on this exercise.
10 minutes? 20 minutes?
Because looking back takes a while. When I did it, it takes a long time.
Yeah, I think you maybe should take an hour. We didn't have an hour, but he's like, let's just do like a little practice run. And then you guys can on your own do it. But I had like a Formula 1 trip, took a few golf trips. UPW was great. Actually, the consistent workouts was actually more reliable peak positive moments than like one thing. It was just felt like
Good one.
This thing that you do, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, to kind of like keep you at a certain baseline. We had a bunch of group dinners, did some trips to Ojai and Montecito with my wife, which were amazing. Went camping with the dog. Some business stuff, but actually a lot of our friend birthday celebrations were up there too. Yours we had at that rooftop. Went to Andre's at the beach. Jason's.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, it was there were some really good friend celebrations in there too. So I don't know. I'm gonna go through it a little deeper and try to block off. I didn't do any international travel outside of work travel, so that definitely has to
So
go on
glad
the list.
I'm not the only one that's basically fallen off
I
that.
noticed that you also have been thriving with so many workouts.
Should I quote
Sir,
from the
sir, I walked for an hour and a half yesterday.
for those listening? We have a separate chat,
It's called the Fitness Boys.
Fitness Boys, and Armand put something in here like, if I don't post something tomorrow, I don't deserve this chat anymore. And you did. You did post.
But that's why I'm trying to change up the commute, not be in the car 2 hours
Yeah, you could
a
have
day.
2 hours of working out every day.
Yeah.
Imagine.
I got to buy back my time.
Yeah.
Yeah. I go hard on the weekends, though.
You put on great Peloton workouts.
Great numbers.
And I hit the gym like I did it all on Sunday. And sauna.
Got a sauna.
Got a sauna.
Sauna's like the reward.
Yeah, sauna's so good.
Dude, the home gym is very nice.
Yeah, you got a good setup. in the
After my
works.
last lift, it took me 45 seconds to be at the kitchen cooking eggs, and I was like, wow, this is nice.
Okay, so what have you installed so far?
Okay, we got, well, I have the equipment, haven't put it up yet, but it's like a half rack for a squat rack.
Okay.
So you're not squatting in the rack, you're squatting outside of it, but it's good because it doesn't take that much space, like 24 inches, I think.
Yeah, like not a full cage, just
Just a half.
Yeah.
And then you could fold it up if you wanted, but it's got a pull-up bar. Got these adjustable dumbbells. They're pretty badass.
But it saves on the space. That's
Yeah. They
primary
go up to like
function.
80-something pounds, which is like more than enough. What else? Got a 50-pound kettlebell in there. Trap bar, a regular barbell, treadmill. The assault bike comes next month.
Yeah, baby.
Torture
Fuck that.
for the pain cave.
No. No assault bike.
And there's a bunch of other stuff like jump
Dude,
it's and
that's
bands.
already so good. I
It's-
feel like
it's
that's
amazing.
All you
everything
need.
you need.
Yeah. And then there is room for a very small sauna, but we have to rewire it to.
You could do one of
Support.
those like infrared ones where you just
I feel like the infrared doesn't really.
it doesn't get as
Give you the
hot,
juice,
it doesn't
no.
have as much of the benefits, but still you're talking about like an actual sauna?
A hot rock sauna.
You could do that?
Yeah, there's like a
You need special wiring. for
indoor.
that.
Yeah, you need to support it indoor. Like they call it a 1 to 2 person sauna. It's kind of just a one person sauna, but
That's great.
so we'll see. See how it feels once everything's up and going.
Dude, that's awesome.
Dude, if you throw a sauna in there, you're set.
Very excited.
That's great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's get back to this goal planning.
Yeah.
So I did the same exercise a year ago.
Can I share this tweet
Yeah.
to spark up and provide a more
Yeah.
grounding,
Spark it.
kind of thing? Why this matters?
Okay.
Okay, here's why this matters. This tweet says, "Hit me with the harshest reality truth," and the response is, "If you don't actively shape the life you desire each day, you'll eventually wake up to find that years have slipped by unnoticed."
Fuck.
So this is one of those like feels like a trite kind of statement, but there's actually like a lot of deep, profound like truth in it. It really is, and I think people discount advice like this often. Like we all know these things to be self-evident and true, and you keep on deferring who you want to become into the future, assuming that when you have more time or more resources that you'll become that person. But the reality is that if you aren't giving away 10 cents of a dollar today, you won't give away, X percent, the same amount, 10% in the future. And so you have to actively shape the life you desire each day. And I think the part about this that stands out to me the most is not so much like the doing part, but the not doing part. The cost of the not doing part, like waking up and finding that years of your life have slipped by and you haven't become all that you know you can be, or at least 80% of what you know you can be. I think the pain of that is tremendous, like tremendous to people. Because eventually, as you get older, it gets harder and harder to build and cultivate new habits as well. Like, it's never too late, in my opinion, to do anything.
Right.
I don't care if you're 30, 40, 70, or 90. You can still wake up and choose to do something tomorrow. But it does get harder because there's so much inertia and momentum going in the wrong direction that the change has to be so much more drastic. And I also think that when you get to that point, you can feel so defeated that it's harder to get going in the first place. Or maybe the pain is so severe enough that you wake up and do it. But there's a lot of people living life like this with that deferral into the future mindset, as if one day it'll all just come together.
Yeah.
You have to like err on the side of action now. But I do want to defend folks, right? Like the reality is that the years slip by regardless.
Mm-hmm.
And what I have noticed recently, having a kid, it's like you see time with greater clarity.
Big time.
Like a year happens and you see what a year looks like in your child with much more clarity than you see a year in yourself, especially when you're 40 years old.
Right.
And with our friends' kids too, like our friends' kids are getting, that were like babies are now like in middle school. And I'm just like, what is going on? So the years slip by regardless, but I think you just got to do something meaningful with the time.
Totally.
I think blocking it out is helpful. I've never actually done it. Like say, okay, this week we're going to take a trip. We don't know what it is, but like this is the week. I was actually scrolling Twitter. Was it last night? Yeah. And someone created a product. I think the website's called bigasscalendars.com. And it has an enormous like yearly calendar so that you can see like big strokes. Like, okay, I'm going to take this trip, or we're going to do this, and we're going to do this. And then you're like, shit, like, you know, the thing I want to do, I'm actually only asking myself to take 12 days out of this whole calendar.
Okay, you want to, can I throw it up on the screen?
Go to this. I think that is it, but go to the site. Yeah, let's show it. They have a big app. Yeah, that's the one.
Okay, I'm buying it.
Okay,
I'm buying
this
it. I love visuals like this.
Is this a whole year in
It's a whole year in days.
in one block?
Yeah. And it's just enormous, so you can see broad strokes like, what am I going to...
Okay, so this is like this is something I even talked about early days on one of our pods, is like I have a monthly one that I have on my desk, which I like, but this is even better. It's even bigger.
It's huge.
It's huge. It's big ass calendar.
This is perfect for like an office, man cave.
I mean, I would find a lot of use out of this. Like, I don't feel what you guys feel, maybe necessarily on like guilt of taking a trip here and there, and I need to see the bigger picture. It's like, well, you've worked so much. That's not what I need. I need to see that if there's gaps in there where I'm not putting my dots on it, that I'm like,
oh yeah, you could definitely put your workout dots and your diet dots. And
yes, this is what I need. It's like I need to fill this thing up with my daily consistency goals, whatever they may be for you. For me, it's diet, exercise.
Yeah.
This is great for like looking forward to stuff.
True.
I find that it's so powerful to like look forward to things, man. Or like finishing a trip by having the next one planned, like booked ahead.
I was working on Q1 2026 goals, just kind of like getting it set up and putting some initial ideas in there. Could use your guys' ideas on this one. So under the I have a goal category called time, and under it says optionally retired, and the goal is to live the retired lifestyle now. And I've talked to you guys about this before. Is like, okay, let's say you can retire, you stop working, well, then what are you going to do? And most likely probably end up having to do something that looks like work to stay intellectually challenged and active.
No doubt.
And so I asked a question, or I wrote down a question, what would make you feel retired right now? So like, you know, I wrote down a handful of ideas, but I would like to hear your guys' ideas too. Maybe take a golf lesson and play once a week, right? So that's call it 6 hours. Work out without rushing in the morning is like a big one.
Damn, you're rushing.
Not
your
rushing
workouts?
all the time, but sometimes I am, because I'm like, shit, I'm behind. I started late, so like
Yeah.
I got to get into the office, or I want to get in the office. Muay Thai in the evenings, 2 international trips a year. I think that would mostly do it. But I'm curious what else I could throw in there that would make it feel like you are, even though you're not. You got a job, but like you could move like 1 or 2 small things around, and you're like, oh, I'm basically doing what I would have done anyway.
Yeah.
While still staying kind of intellectually engaged.
I have a lot. I mean, not operating on a calendar. So like a big ass calendar sounds great.
Yeah, because it's not your day. You're not your
a
hourly
regular calendar. Like I'd like to do that week.
I had a buddy just on that topic. He just said no meetings before noon was his like thing, and just like don't ever do it, so that he's never rushed in the morning, never has to be anywhere. He can start work at 8 a.m. if he wants, but he knows nothing's gonna really command his attention until noon or later.
Yeah, I'm already working on that. Like I have a whole 3-step thing that I'm working on regarding meetings, where it's like currently I'm having to start meetings as early as 8. Would like to get to the point where they're after 12, where morning time is only for maker time for me and creative, and then meetings in the afternoon. Then eventually I'm able to even silo them to one or 2 days a week, afternoons only. But then eventually, like the retirement version is like there is no calendar event that I need to show up to unless I absolutely want to. That part's easy. So it's like flexibility of calendar and time. I would probably work 80% as much, you know. I would just be less tied to a desk, so it would make me feel more retired. Is like I don't need to be at a computer at a desk. I will go to the desk when I want to be at the desk, but I can mostly just be on my phone, make deals happen, run companies, make decisions. People come to me and are excellent and know exactly what they need to do, and everything happens. So I'm more in that position. Way more time for activities. So I already started a list, actually. It's funny you mentioned that. I started the actual retirement list. And so the goals for me like would be to start learning piano, to coach a soccer team. So I'd probably just start carving out 10 to 15 hours a week for extracurriculars.
That's really good.
And then make the work part feel really, really lighter and less stressful and more tied to a schedule. That would do it for me. I'd feel so retired. And then location, independence, which I already have, but just to a better degree, where because of the lack of restrictions of meetings, it doesn't matter if I'm in Amsterdam or Tokyo, because my time zone, like the only reason I don't travel more is A, I have a family, but so I need to travel with my family if I'm going to do this most of the time, but B, because I'm needed at a 9 a.m. and that 9 a.m. is 9 p.m. in Dubai,
right?
Or 8 p.m., you know, or 3 a.m. in Thailand. That's not going to work. So location independence would be the next thing, which comes directly in line with calendar independence. I don't need much.
Those are good. I think the activities resonate most with me.
Mm-hmm.
For me, retirement would look like I don't manage client money, just my own, which is kind of like
you're pretty darn close to if you want. You can choose to do that now if you wanted to.
Right. So I think like for me to not take that step would just be like what things would make it feel like that. Traveling more, but then like to Armand's point, it's like I'm not bound by like time zone ever. I'm bound by like this idea that when you have a family, it's kind of nice to have this like nest, and like I want to sort of just like be here,
hang out in the nest.
Yeah, because this is like our home, and you know I think I'm sort of like of two minds. The individual inside of me wants to go travel, but then like the family guy wants to just like be in the nest. So that's tough.
Yeah, I think these are good questions. Like, what's the hybrid or the shortcut that could just make you feel like you're retired? Because I started watching these videos of people who retired, and they're about a year to 2 years into their retirement, like actually stopped working completely. And this guy is a financial advisor. He goes and interviews him, and they're like 20-minute interviews, but you get a lot of lessons about like, all these things that you think you would do in retirement, but then you hear all these people be like, actually, no, I didn't. So one of the guys, I think he didn't talk about his family, but it didn't seem like he was married or he didn't mention kids, but he was like, the first thing I thought I would done was travel. It's been a little over a year and I haven't done a single trip. I really haven't like found the urge. Also, he's like, not everyone, all my friends are available to just travel in the middle of the week or whatever. So he's like, it's like, okay, I guess I'd do it by myself. And I just didn't find it that useful. But he did find some hobbies. And as he was talking, I was like, well, he could have done all that stuff, while he was working, just work a little less. I'm not even talking about half, like 80%, and still fit those in. Now, don't get me wrong. He did say, he's like, I love retirement. Like he's like, I don't do shit. And then they asked him like, do you think you'll go back and do some kind of work? And he's like, I think I'm going to have to after like maybe another 6 months to a year. He's like kind of running out of like things to do, things to work on.
So it's not about money. It's about his
not
own
at all.
sanity.
Yeah. He even said, he's like, I reached the money point and then I went an extra year and a half, mostly just like cushion it in his brain. But then he had a jolt and he's like, no, I got to actually stop working at some point, but still kind of missing the intellectual curiosity and challenge.
So that one thing that he mentioned resonates with me a lot, where he was like saying how he wants to do all these things, but his friends aren't in the same place and they can't do it. I feel this on a smaller level where it's like market closes at 1 p.m. Pacific time and everybody's working until 5.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, well, I guess this is the time where I'll do my grocery shopping and I just kind of like do stuff. But it's also like nobody can go play tennis, which I'd want to do.
I can see you walk around the house as an older man, your hands behind your back, just pacing
just
around.
Thinking about things.
Yeah, thinking about things, pondering Epictetus.
So I think the way that I would probably want to design that, if you get to this level, I think it would be ideal. This is like I think this is a Nickism, but he said, I'm paraphrasing you, my friend. You said, I'd want to be an activities coordinator.
Oh, yeah. If we were fully retired, what would you spend your time doing? I think you were like, don't you think you just go back to work? I was like, no, I would just spend full-time activities coordinator.
So you basically just like design a cool trip that you want to go on and you invite your friends to also join. And I think like if you're like well off enough, you'd be like, I'll cover the lodging, I'll cover the activities. You guys just get there and agree to be there with me as we go about this journey. And that sounds so sick.
Yeah, that's great.
Like my friend Daniel does that with the golf trips. He's just like, it's all planned, it's all done, it's fully coordinated. All I need you to do is say yes and book. And he has the flight numbers and everything. Like, these are the flights you book. This is how you get home. And then you just go and show up, and it's amazing.
There is this pod that's pretty good. It's called MoneyWise, I think.
Oh yeah, I've seen a few of those.
Yeah, it's by the guy that started, one of the guys that did the, what's that pod called?
His name is Sam Parr, I think.
Sam Parr.
Yeah.
What is that pod called they're famous for?
My First Million?
My First Million, thank you. And they basically just like interview exited or really rich founders. And so it's literally like discussions like this, like what did you do when 8 figures, 9 figures hit your bank account? How did your life change? What's actually like meaningful to you? What did you spend your money on? What things that you spent your money on drove real value versus the ones that didn't? And one thing in the last episode, and it's all anecdotal case studies, right? So it's just like you got to take it with a grain of salt. Everybody's different. But one thing was like this guy was like, I always had this plan to like start traveling with my family. And then he was like, it was kind of funny for the kids because it's like, oh, the rich family's taking his kids out of school for a month to go to Europe. And he's like, do you know what happened when we got to Europe with my family? He's like, do you know what kids really want to do? And the host was like, yeah, what? He's like, they just want to play with their friends and play this video game.
Like Minecraft or something?
Yeah, the one... I'm so bad at
Fortnite?
Yeah, Fortnite.
Yeah,
Thanks.
Definitely Fortnite.
They just want to play Fortnite and hang out with their friends. And he's like, pretty much like we had to cut the trip short. Like
they got
like
bored.
They don't care if they're in Paris.
Right.
And that also made me think about this idea of like, certain dreams you might have for you don't end up really working for your family. And you got to start to like take that into account. So it's interesting. It becomes a unit that has to build its vision and its dreams together. And maybe my kids will love to be in an international school abroad, and they'll be like, okay, we get a lot out of this, but I don't know. Maybe they'll be like the kids that guy talked about.
No, you
just be like, can we go home? Can we get the consistency?
Activities coordinate for all of us. We bring our kids to play with your kids.
Now we're talking. We go eat baguettes and walk around Paris.
Yeah.
They can go hang out.
Yeah. And then the other thing about work is I think I would restructure work to be more creative, I'm totally the kind of person I could see myself being like, I want to do a documentary. I totally would get into stuff like that. I want to finally write a book, my book, multiple books. I want to take the content game to the next level.
What's the first book you want to write?
I already have a title.
You have the title already.
Yeah. I mean, I've had many books that have come and gone through me.
You were very close.
But
signing
I had a book deal.
Yeah, you had a book deal.
I should tell the story one time. There's some lore behind that. I canceled it. I canceled the book deal. It's the book that absolutely I like must write and need to write, but has nothing to do with like building my personal brand or AI or anything, is all about psychology. It's all about making the unconscious conscious.
I can't wait to talk about this within the context of the Rick Rubin quote.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't it kind of perfect?
Yeah, yeah.
Can we pivot? Can we play
let's
that?
pivot.
Yeah,
let's
do it.
Let's pivot. So,
are you going to play the audio?
I'm just going to play this video if you're watching, audio if you're listening.
1 minute video.
We'll talk about
Rubin's
it.
beautiful voice.
So yeah, enjoy a voice that is infinitely better than mine.
That's what people think. It's like, just because I like it, that doesn't give it any value. Like, as an artist, if you like it, that's all of the value. That's the success comes when you say, I like this enough for other people to see it. Not other people like it, so it's successful. That doesn't mean anything, because that's other people liking it is out of your control. All that's in your control is making the thing to the best of your ability. It's all an offering to God. And if you're making an offering to God, you're not thinking about, oh, what's the budget? Or I hope this segment of the audience is going to like it. We don't think like that. It's a higher vibration. We're making the best we can make to the best of our ability out of love and devotion. That's what it is. And there is no, I'm changing it for someone else, because it can't be better than this devotional act that we're doing.
Oh my God. That is so goddamn good. That is so good. There is no surprise to me that this is the man behind some of the greatest artists of our time. Like, no surprise to me whatsoever.
Can we just talk about how he was like, what he looks and what he was doing in the video? Like, if I was barefoot, sitting cross-legged, and I throw the blue blockers on, and I sit as if like I'm in a meditation state.
You have a massive beard.
Huge beard.
And also like 2 beards coming out of the side.
So then I'm actually the same person. Am I the same person? Do I elevate to a higher level like he does? Do I go in a different vibration?
God.
Should I take my shoes off?
Yeah, it would help your brand. So good. So good. So what do you guys think about that? Like that idea of creating purely for yourself and only through that which the muse has spoken through you and needs to be expressed, and that all that matters at the end of the day is that you like it.
I think that's one element of it. I think that I like chopped it up into different parts, but that was probably my favorite part.
Mm-hmm.
There's another part that was like straight Epictetus.
Mm-hmm. That you control.
Yeah. You can't control how people perceive what you make.
Mm-hmm.
All you can control is what you make. And just focus on that. And don't put any attention towards the other part that's outside your control. That's like a different slice of the Rick Rubin thing. But my favorite part is with the part you mentioned, where it's like, if you just like pour out from your soul, then nothing can beat that, because that's just you. That
makes me think of so many people, like Van Gogh. You know, tragic story. Created beautiful things that were expressions of devotional acts to God or to whatever, and spent his whole life being basically rejected by the public.
Yeah.
Overlooked would be a better word. And at the end of the day, like, continued to create beautiful works of art, but never in his human life saw them appreciated. Obviously, that ended in tragedy. That's not what you want, but he stayed true to his style, to his craft, to what he wanted to express and see.
I had two things that came to mind. First off was that marketing is the exact opposite of this. Like, you are building a product or a service specifically for someone else. It actually, what you think about it is actually a danger to its own success. Like, you're trying to build a product and a service completely for someone else, and all you care about is what that customer
I love.
really wants.
I know. I mean, that's his
I
world.
love that you're
He
saying
cares
this.
about the conversion
I love
rate.
that you're saying this, because I actually thought about this in depth too. I was like, so how does this apply to business? Where in business you like need to serve your customer. Like, it's like a big part of it.
Yeah, you spend time, focus groups and research and surveys, and be like,
But
do you
aren't
like
these,
this feature or
think
that
about
feature?
it this way. There's two different things happening here. Let's just look at his world, like as a sort of artist whisperer, right? There are so many artists that have a completely different type of Rick Rubin behind them. They're like, here's the formula. Did you guys see the Diddy documentary?
No.
Yes.
It's awful. It's terrible. It's so hard to watch. He's a disgusting human being. But this was his approach. Rick Rubin's here. This is Diddy on the other side of the same spectrum of creativity. The guy's has some creativity to him. He's not like a musically talented person, but in the same way, he's actually very similar to Rick Rubin. There's no growing up like learning the notes and knowing how to produce and knowing how to make music. He just has an ear and an eye for it. You know what really started it for Diddy? Like, there were many moments, but the key moment to the musical success was when he was producing with Biggie, and he was, at the label, and Tupac came out with I Get Around. Okay, so in the documentary, they highlight this very clearly. I Get Around just goes fucking ballistic. And it's like Tupac, and he's thug life, and there's bitches everywhere, and there's champagne pouring, and it's like sunny California, and it's just like, holy shit, the world had never seen anything like this. And Diddy's just like, we have to copy this. This is the formula. This is the way. It's not an expression or devotional act of God. It's not what's true to you, Biggie.
It's marketing.
This is marketing. This is what works. We just have to put the East Coast spin on it. What does that look like? Boom, Big Papa.
And they in the documentary, they literally show clip from this music video, and then they talk. People were behind the scenes around Diddy and Biggie at the time, and how Diddy was obsessed with like the visuals, and then they cut to the Big Pop video, and it's literally almost one to one.
It looks like the same video,
just in a different setting.
My deeper point, though, is that like that doesn't mean you can't still become successful, but what Rick Rubin's talking about is a different kind of success that's true to you.
Yeah,
and yet there's no marketing with this. It's about the devotional act. It's about the creativity that's pure, that's honest, that's authentic to the creator. To each their own.
Oh,
I like his version.
So this is, Rick Rubin probably read Epictetus, because this is exactly what he's talking about. He's like your success should be intrinsically valued by your harmony with yourself and with your desires, like not based off of the approval of others.
Can we talk about another muse that is similar to Rick Rubin?
So Rick Rubin, by the way, is just he's not a producer of music. He doesn't make any music.
There's a great interview. He's like, so did you study music? No. Do you play any musical instruments? No. Do you know how to write music? No. Can you read music? No. And he says like, so what exactly do you do here? It's like at Office Space.
So what does he do here?
It's creative muse.
He has it. He's connected.
No, they call these guys
He has the ear.
taste makers, like, right? Like
Yeah.
he knows what is good.
Okay, that's what he said in that exact interview. He's like, I just know what sounds good to me.
Yeah, that's it. But
I love it because
And
I
he,
I see myself in him. I think that I have like elements of that, and I think I need to lean more into that. I like what he does.
And he sort of like coaches and I don't know. He kind of like edifies the artist.
yeah, you
while
also have
they're-
to be a great coach.
while they're in that zone of making.
Just
the
because
thing
you
that he
can't read the
likes.
music doesn't mean you can't go like back that up. That sound popped. Do that again. Add a little more this. Add a little more that. Like it's like talking. Like it's what I do all day long. I speak to my engineers. I don't know how to code. I don't know how to design, but I can tell my designer like exactly what's working and what's not without being a specialist in that.
by the way, graphic
arena.
designers love when you say, "Can you make it pop more?" They love that. They love that. Well, there's another video. It's longer, so we're not going to play it, but it's about like 10 minutes or so. It's Pharrell talking to this artist, Maggie Rogers, but it's back in 2016 when she's at NYU in school. So Pharrell comes and visits this class, and they happen to videotape it. And
seen
I've
this.
seen
it's
it.
one of my favorite videos. I think I
hard to
watch it
see
like
it.
once every year or two. It's wild to watch. So he's doing these like critiques of students, and Maggie comes up, they play her song, and you can see Pharrell's eyes.
He like identifies it immediately.
he's like, whoa.
he's like, what you have here is special.
And he literally says, I have 0 notes. Why? Because that is uniquely you. And that is what it means to be a good artist. And he goes on for a lot longer, but he had exactly the same message. And because her song was like a folky with electronic
Totally
beat to
outside
it.
of Pharrell's genre,
or
right?
most genres. It was like
Yeah,
a
yeah.
weird mix, but he was like, that is unique to you. And that's why you should just keep going. And
But
he's
then
like,
that
I have
song
no advice.
ends up going.
It's an amazing song.
It goes like
Yeah.
top 100 on
I think the
radio
song's
or
called
something.
Alaska.
Yeah, there are multiple paths to success. You can, like that whole phase we had of like bubblegum rap, you know, just everyone copying each other, saying cluck, cluck, clue, clue, and like not really talking.
You're talking about in music.
In music,
Mumble rap.
is like the complete opposite of like lyrically driven hip hop of the 90s
Agreed.
and storytelling.
But even then, you just gave an example of how Biggie and P. Diddy
Exactly.
like literally just copied
Yeah.
what worked, and then that worked.
But
for
one
them.
person was true. I'm Biggie was phenomenal. Like I think Biggie was amazing, and he had many songs that like, you know, of his own
But
creativity.
they just like put the setting
get the hit.
around him
Yeah.
to like get the clicks or whatever.
yeah,
in
for
today's
sure.
parlance. I
sure.
suppose like I'm wondering how it applies to modern life, particularly to us, because we've had these conversations with Alfalfa. It's like, so what should we do here to like grow this pod?
Been thinking about this a lot, and it was so interesting. Like some of the feedback in the Discord after your and I's episode last week. Like some people were like, yeah, I kind of like the, you know, tech investing idea more. I like that as the 80%. And other people, because that was the ask, it was like, which one do you want as the 80%? And then the other was like, well, I kind of more here for the, you know, the deeper discussions, the Von Deepers, the personal development, the personal growth. But then the ones that stood out to me were the ones that were just like, it's not about either one. It's kind of all of it. It's the fact that you guys are being true to what you're interested in, exploring it, and creating a space for messy gray. And it's genuinely like we're your friend and we're there part of the conversation, but mostly listening. And it could be whatever you want it to be. But
Yeah, dude.
you know, it's like, and a lot of people really pushed on this, like Pat, they were like, and they, you know, he used the example of like Joe Rogan or other people, which is like, yes, they had the audience, but the reality is like, there is a path toward that too, where you just stay true to what interests you and excites you, and continue cultivating and growing an audience.
I'm excited. Nick, do you have any thoughts on this? Because
No.
I'm excited to hear yours. That like I could go.
Go.
I think like what I think is maybe a window into our thought process for the audience is like the YouTube algorithm or like the algorithms at large sort of reward you these days for niching yourself and becoming this one thing and become an expert in this one thing. But that sort of goes against exactly what Rick Rubin's talking about, which is just like, why don't the creators create something that pleases them, that they feel good about, that just like is their authentic self? And I feel like if we just continue to do that, that will serve us as the creators as we do this, and it could lead to a cool outcome too.
The worst thing that can possibly happen to any creator is to become famous for something that they don't genuinely want to build a mask around.
Yes, agree.
This is actually in a recent Tim Ferriss episode with Knees Over Toes guy.
Oh.
It gets good at the end. Knees Over Toes guy is like...
Knees Over Toes guy's so good.
Knees Over Toes guy is so good.
He doesn't even like doing Knees Over Toes?
Guy can dunk. He's doing Knees Over Toes.
He's super interesting. That was like the first Tim Ferriss episode I've listened to in a long time.
Like, I'm actually a baker, man.
He only works out like twice a week.
No.
Yeah, it's a good episode. Because he's a dad and he's doing all this stuff and he's just like, this is all you need. Push, pull, bunch of exercises I've never heard of before. And
so he's
like,
saying
that's
that
all you
everything
need.
Else is superfluous.
Yeah, for him.
I actually agree with that.
He's like, if you do these things, you will be so fit.
He can dunk.
Yeah. He just plays basketball once a week and works out once a week.
He's white.
Yeah.
I just need to clarify.
How tall is he?
Normal.
Okay. So
I was told in a 1990s movie that white men cannot dunk or jump.
And Tim is interesting because
great movie, by the way.
he talked about how he did a crypto episode with Balaji at the height of the pump during COVID, and that it was like their most listened to episode of the year. And then his team was like, here are 4 to 5 other crypto people you should interview immediately. This is very, very effective. And then he paused and thought about it and said no. And he evaluated the trade-offs and was like, this will be huge for sponsorships. I'll make more money. I'll bring in a new audience. But the core people that are here will hate this. And then I'll end up wearing a mask that I just truly don't want to wear. That takes a lot of balls.
That's pretty good, man.
Could have had an FTX sponsorship.
Oh, he definitely could have. He definitely could have.
But sometimes you want to feed at the trough while it's full.
Yeah, it's hard.
I mean, I'm sure he's charging pretty heavy for his sponsorships. Right. I watched this like day in the life of this guy named Dom D'Agostino. Mm-hmm. He's a researcher, very into keto and the ketogenic diet. He studies the ketogenic diet for like academic reasons, but also for the military. And this guy goes to his farm and works out with them. And the guy is huge, like built, but also very lean. And he only worked out twice a week. He's like, I just get in, do the major exercises, and I'm out. And then one thing that he did do was he pushed these like 100-pound rolls of hay, bales of hay, as like his cardio finisher at the end on the farm.
I mean,
looked amazing.
Counts as working out, by the way.
Yeah, it does. It does. But yeah, he's known for like health and fitness, and you can go to his house and it's like this run down,
it's just a farm
farm gym that like he made a lot of the stuff himself, and he's only in there a little bit because he's got a family and whatnot.
I would love to be able to do. I would love if we didn't do like trap bar deadlifts, but instead we were like actually doing meaningful physical labor. I wouldn't mind that. If there's like anything that exists in life that's like,
well, people didn't have to work out in the past.
Well, what's like the modern city boy version of like lifting hay? You know, like what
in Office Space isn't it like his neighbor at the end? His neighbor's a construction worker, and the main character in Office Space at the end just ends up working construction with them outside.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he does.
This is nice.
Yeah.
Fucking A, man.
Yeah. Takes a swig of his beer.
Yeah.
I remember that. That's a goated movie.
Yeah, you can go build a AI data center, Eric.
Yeah.
Work construction.
Where do you land, though? Like marketing or authenticity?
I think...
And by the way... Is there a path toward, if you're authentically niching into something that you want to do, and leaning into the algo, but just constraining yourself. Is that?
I think what I've kind of landed on with this is that I break it down into two components, and one is, I would call like the artistry component, where outcomes are not easily measured, and then the other one I would call like maybe easily measured, but you can put like business into that, sports into that, like other endeavors where like the outcomes are, you can easily say this one was better than this one. I think with art, it's unique in that it's like you made an offering to God. No one can do better than that. But in business, it's like, well, this guy did better than that. Very clearly, you know, in sports, well, that guy did better than that. You know, I think it's hard to apply this to all realms, which is what I was trying to do. And maybe like that was my downfall as I was like trying to apply this to my own life, my own artistry, you know, as I'm pursuing my craft and stuff. But I think Alfalfa is the easiest one to say like, oh, so we should just pursue what we like, and that will be authentic, and that authentic message will be great.
Yeah, I guess in like building products, like it's exact opposite of this. Like you're trying to get in the mind of this customer and try to understand what they want. You talk to them, you survey them, you get all the data. And then there is a little last bit of art, like where they're like, well, this is my problem and this is what I think I want. But, you know, you have to create something that will they'll, you know, they don't tell you exactly what they want. Like what's the phrase? Like Henry Ford said, if I would ask people what they want, they would just say
faster horse.
Faster horse. Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you kind of need to put your art in there a little bit, and your taste, a lot of taste, I guess.
Yeah. No, you definitely fall on this side of the spectrum where you're like, I got to be able to see a clear, measurable way, a path of success, a KPI, and I want to model success.
Yeah, and
I don't want to originate this from my soul. Like, that's not you.
No.
Yeah.
That sounds like a freaking disaster.
That sounds great to me.
I'm only just laughing because of
that
how
sounds
much
so
you're
great
laughing.
to me. Yeah, he's poo-pooing the whole thing.
Well, I'm like, so let me get this straight. You created something entirely new. It doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Okay, so there
People hate it.
isn't a market for it. No one fucking wants it. You know, it's very rare where you're like, I created this entirely new thing and everyone wants it, you know?
I don't think everyone has to want it. That's his point.
Then you're bankrupt.
Actually,
Smithers, man. Smithers is on a roll.
Smithers is on a roll. I actually think that Alfalfa, even like particularly in our lives, it exists as this unique little thing. Like I think Smithers can be that way.
Oh yeah.
In all of his
It only helps.
all of his walks of life, and that's great. And I think that serves him very well. But I think it's important that this thing is viewed for what it is. Like, this is not necessarily that. This is like our artistry.
This is clearly not that. Right? Because if it was for a specific
we've
audience
dragged Nick into not that.
in a market, it would not be the way it is.
Yeah,
clearly.
Right.
We've talked about it so many times, like, well, if this was a product, this is a piece of shit. You know, like this is not made for like mass audience growing. It's like just what we want to do.
But that, okay.
And how we want to talk with each
now
other.
I'm triggered. That's not necessarily true if you gain enough of that. Like sometimes the path is usually to find a thin edge of a wedge to break into a market in business. But so it could be that you niche down in order to expand your TAM. Like that would be my approach to startups and my version of like what Nick is saying, where maybe your broader long-term intention, like if I had a pitch deck for you on my startup, it's start with this market segment. If it would be for Alfalfa, it'd be like tech investing as the predominant, or personal growth is the predominant like path to entry point in the market. But then once you start to accumulate that audience and people are there, you start to give them 10%, 20%, 30%. You expand the alternate paths and the alternate value propositions that you have. And then suddenly you're serving different segments of people that are there. And then you're Joe Rogan or you're Chris Williamson and you're just talking to people at large because they're there for something called wisdom, which is a really broad word, you know? That's probably the right approach.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agree.
So I'm like this hybrid. I think there's something to be said for both ways.
Yeah, and I think it actually serves us collectively to have this medium that acts as an kind of like a creative artistic outlet when we all tend to be pretty like formulaic and Smithers-ish.
Yeah.
Smithery.
I definitely am in my work. So yeah, for sure. That was great. Good way to wrap the year on Alfalfa with creativity. Yeah. So you guys wanted to talk about the Genesis mission.
Oh, yeah. Let me...
or sorry, was that next?
No, it wasn't. It was next. You're right. Let me pull it up.
On the...
I don't think we got a chance to talk about it, but it seemed like a big deal, and it might just be like political fluff announcement. But let's talk about what it is, and then we can kind of chat about it. So it was an executive order. I think Trump signed it last month, and it kind of frames AI in America in the form of an equivalent Manhattan Project. Is kind of what they talked about, the the Manhattan Project for AI. And what it does is it kind of bulks a lot of stuff under the Department of Energy, and it creates a digital infrastructure where essentially it seems like all the separate agencies in the government are going to centralize compute AI models and data sets, is what it sounds like. And the goal is to specifically use AI to automate experiments. And so this could be...
I would say to augment experience.
Augment experience, yeah. Not automate.
Augment, I think. You can like add automation to researchers' efforts and stuff like...
Yeah, so they want to go after like new materials, engineering problems like nuclear energy, biotech, semiconductors. And I think overall, like if you just kind of read the headline, you're like, that sounds amazing, right? Like to kind of coordinate the government's efforts to get faster at learning. A lot of the, technologies that we take for granted today started in the government. The internet, and DARPA developed a lot of the underlying technology.
Yeah, so here are the 6 areas.
Oh yeah, let's pull it up. So advanced manufacturing, biotechnology, critical materials, nuclear fission and fusion, quantum information science, and semiconductors and microelectronics. That seems strategically sound.
Agree.
Right? So I have a list of what it does. So centralizes data and compute. They have data at national labs, like Los Alamos still exists. I think there's another lab called Oak Ridge. But they're all separate data sets and AI models. And so they want to kind of create a unified platform. Trying to automate the scientific method is a big part of it. And then I thought this one was interesting. So standardizing public and private partnerships. So I think what it means is that it allows a private company to rent time or data on a government supercomputer. So you can access federal data without like years of red tape. So I don't know exactly. I'm missing like a hardcore example, but it might be that the government has certain data in biotech or materials or the way our economic data, and you want to run analysis on it, include it in your model, you'll be able to do that. And then, it seems like the cool part of this is it focuses on hard sciences, Not
the
not
focus
like,
is on science.
Yeah.
I think that is something that I didn't expect to see.
Yeah. And you remember at the same time, like just like a month before, there was a lot of like news about them revoking research grants to big universities like Harvard and there was, professors coming out and be like, I'm not going to have funding for my research. So I don't know if these happened in tandem, like, hey, we want to focus here in a centralized way rather than the universities, but it definitely focuses on the hard sciences.
And also one thing I'd point out is if you read through this thing, this is an actual plan. So what it says is that within 30 days we will like look and agree at this list of things that we want to focus on. Within 90 days we will look at our resources and see like what kind of compute we have and who are partners that we can augment our compute with. Within 120 days, it's like the next thing. In 240 days, it's this.
Yeah.
Within a year, it's this. It's an actual plan.
There are little holes in the plan. Like, I don't know if you noticed, but like repeatedly they say subject to available appropriations. So basically, like this doesn't actually create any new money or new budgets. They have to use what's already existing, and a lot of this might not actually happen until Congress basically fits it in a budget. It doesn't, initially you might read it and be like, oh, we're going to create a government AI, and it's definitely not doing that. There's not going to be like a government chat GPT that you can query. And then the other part is, okay, you have the resources and the compute, but how are you going to get the talent? How is government and these government agencies going to compete with Meta and Google and OpenAI paying exorbitant salaries? And I doubt the government's going to be immigrating, talent from other countries to fill these roles. So that's a part in the plan. I was like, well, who's gonna run this thing? Who's gonna build it? Because I gotta imagine there's a huge sucking sound coming from all these private companies that are taking the talent away. I don't think they address that so much. It just seems like they're trying to stop wasting like data and compute resources separately and just put them into a single accessible one and try to speed up the research and development.
I look at this as mostly it's partially a political move to really, plant a flag and say like, this is what my administration stands for, is what believes is important, is something that he can campaign, just generally like around the entire Republican Party can get behind to try to create some unification. But the Republican Party seems to be very split on AI in general. And I think we're going to start to see some like weird disruption next year during the midterms.
You mentioned that.
This.
I think even Steven mentioned this prior, but like there was a headline that says disgruntled Republicans look for anti-AI candidate to potentially run against J.D. Vance in 2028.
And it's going to become more and more prominent because I think the signs to me are indicating that Dems are going to win the midterms, and the Dems are going to push back against AI probably because they're like, it's taking our jobs kind of vibe. So I think you're going to need some kind of Republican narrative that's also playing to that voice.
Right.
But I do think of this from like a higher level too, because the U.S. released their like 33-page strategy, which we don't need to get too into the weeds on. But like I see what the U.S. is trying to do, and it's like pretty cool actually.
Yeah, I do think it's partially political, for sure. But at the same time, like I think it's a necessity that the U.S. is always going to feel that if there's a game and they're going to participate in the game at all, they have to win. And so, it's an R&D plan.
Yeah. So I want to talk to you guys about that. Like we went over AI 2027 together. There was a timeline, right? And in the timeline, like somewhere around 25, 26, and by the way, that guy who wrote Situational Awareness, the Aschenbrenner guy, he also has a similar timeline where he's saying the government wakes from slumber. Basically, is like, oh shit, this is a real thing.
Yep.
And then both of them talk about, okay, around 2026, 2027, we're automating more research, like the research loops are going. And then there's this like common enemy, which is China, and it's like in a clear race. And so I don't know, when we read it, we were like, okay, this sounds somewhat plausible. And now we're starting to see some of these things actually play in. And this isn't the real Manhattan Project, where both timelines predict that sometime in 2027 or later, there will be this idea of like $1 trillion cluster, which is the US saying, actually, OpenAI, DeepMind, Anthropic, we need to combine resources. And I think AI 2027 put it in the form of these like economic opportunity zones, essentially, where they said, if you build data centers here, you'll pay no taxes, but we really want to incentivize you to build these massive clusters. Aschenbrenner said, the government's just going to take it all over and like coordinate all the resources in one place. So it's not there yet, but it does sound like we're kind of like steadily walking down this timeline.
Yeah.
I think,
I agree.
I think that is proving to be correct.
I think it's about being able to, like, it's about money and power.
But I also agree
not
that
to dumb it down too much, but
I also agree that those are areas of focus that that are strategically important that the U.S. should focus effort on.
Was there robotics in there? I remember seeing that part of it in there.
well, there's money in that, right? But there's also this national security piece that's really important.
So with the Genesis project, as it's written, is mostly focused on science and using the data sets that the government has already been recording for a long time to like help researchers reach their goals. But I'm looking at this from a higher level, which includes the overall strategy of the government, which I actually want to get into. You guys probably didn't read this thing. I did.
I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
So
You gave us homework.
Okay, so let me just like go over what is going on in this strategy document.
Oh, the 33-page
The
one.
33-pager.
Did not read that.
The 33-pager, I think, is...
I read this 3-page one.
Yeah, the 33-pager is fascinating because this also comes from like the desk of the president, and never in my lifetime have I ever seen a strategy for the United States written out over.
We have a
33
plan.
pages.
Did you guys know?
We
landed on the moon and we have a plan.
We have a plan. We have a plan. And I so loosely follow politics that I don't know to what degree this plan that I'm reading is meaningful. It might just be something that was written and never gets followed. Okay? But let's just like, can I just like briefly overview
please.
the plan? So it's 33 pages, but the plan, it says like, okay, so intro, what is our strategy? What should we want? What do we want from the world? What are America's available means to get what we want? And then it goes into the strategy, the principles that we want to follow. So it talks about culture. It says that we want flexible realism, sovereignty, balance of power, trade, fairness. So our priorities are. Sorry, let me like get to the part that I really liked. Okay, so economic security says that we want balanced trade, securing access to critical supply chains, reindustrialization, reviving defense and our industrial base, energy dominance, preserving the America's growing financial sector dominance. And then it talks about like the rest of the world, their place in that, and how do we like maintain our power in all of that. I think it's actually thoughtful. It's 33 pages. It's well written. I think these things are cool. And having read them, I'm like, for the first time thinking like, okay, this was like communicated in writing pretty well.
Did it sound realistic as you were writing it, or did it sound mostly just like, I don't know, too hopeful that like all these things can happen?
No,
and
it's
not all of it's in our control.
It's for sure hopeful, but at least we have a direction. Like we have like a heading. And I think that in my entire life, I've never as a citizen felt that we've had a clearly defined heading, like a direction that we're going towards. And this was the first time in my life.
I like it.
But I just don't know to what degree.
And also, as a person of similar political interest, I'll ask you this question, Nick. How much does this stuff actually matter long term when you're constantly changing administrations?
Yeah, I was just saying, like, I think like China puts together like a 50, 100-year plan.
Like, it would be nice if you lived in a fucking like dictatorship, and it was like, here is the plan I intend to give to my son,
right?
And son's son,
and we'll follow this for the next
50 years. And we will follow this for 50 years.
Yeah, and the thinking and thought and the research that goes into it is really long term. Yeah. And you're trying to understand what's going to shift in 30 years.
Because I like plans, But it kind of bums me out that, it could all just...
Yeah, I mean, this is one side of the aisles, viewpoint. Right. So we have two. What really matters is
only get two.
What they can actually pass in a budget, because you can have all the plans in the world, but if you actually can't get it passed in a budget, then it doesn't get money. If it doesn't get money, it doesn't potentially happen.
But there are real... I think the thing that kind of could unify everybody is not the money and the power, but the security concerns. Like the two parties could really align on the fact that if AI actually becomes as powerful as we believe, and there's enough money and power to accumulate within it, that there's a real national security concern. Not to mention, we just started selling Nvidia H100s again to China. And that's like giving China 1-year-old technology, basically. But these are very powerful GPUs. This is not like you're just giving China something that's yes, it's not the latest and greatest, but they can do a lot with these GPUs. And Nvidia is very excited about this. And that was an administration decision. That was a government level decision.
It makes sense
to be able to do that.
Yeah, you maybe stop China from developing their own Nvidia. Right, and maybe catching up. You kind of keep them,
but they did it for
1
the
year
money.
behind. Who?
Us,
well,
the U.S.
I don't think it's for money.
Well, did you hear the deal that was made?
money.
No, what was it? The government gets a rip.
The government gets a 20% cut
It's for the
of
money.
all those chips that are sold by Nvidia to China.
Yeah, but I don't think that's the real reason. Like they probably just added that on top. Like, hey, we brokered this deal. We want a sales commission.
Okay, but don't you think that is an important side note amongst all this? Because I feel like that is a slippery slope that we're walking on.
The Intel decision we made, I think this is going to be like a Trump idiosyncrasy of these deals, and it'll be gone when he's...
Hold on. I think that when the incentives are there, it's unlikely that they will be gone in the next administration, because if
they're not going to turn off the faucet.
If the U.S. government can feel like, hold on, we have this like revenue stream.
You can make money.
Yeah. And why don't we just do this with more companies, not fewer? I feel like this is a slippery slope we're walking down, where we have this carve out for Nvidia to sell stuff to China, and then the U.S. gets cut. When the U.S. get these special cuts on more things, it ends up becoming tax without being tax.
Yeah. If I believe that they were going to proportionally decrease our taxes and then, use the money wisely or to pay off the deficit, that'd be great. But
yeah. And to what degree do you expect that to be the outcome?
Zero.
Yeah, so I think it's always like there's a veil of narrative and propaganda on top, and then there's all these other motives that are impossible for us to know. And to Eric's point, maybe, or to your point, maybe the Nvidia deal,
I feel like there's
there's
the advisors around the president who really make all the decisions, and then in order to sell it to him, they're like, we could also take a 20% rip. And he's like, fuck yeah. What were the reasons you said you want to do this again? Doesn't matter. 20%, do it. And they're like, cool, we got what we wanted. Like they're like, feel like there's so many of those things. They're like, it'd be really cool if we created these like social security accounts for children when they're born. Not that interested. We'll call them Trump accounts. Sold. You got it. Let's make it happen. Let's set up the press conference.
It's true. You got to know who you're selling to.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like it's just...
And then think about, from NVIDIA's standpoint, you've gotten blacklisted from selling to your second largest customer. And now you're like, okay, you can sell to them again, but we take 20%. You're like, fine.
Done deal for me.
We got 70% margins for now. For now.
Yeah.
I don't know. You think China will actually take them up on it? Because they obviously see the ploy behind it is like, oh, you actually wanted us to like be addicted to these GPUs that are 12 to 18 months behind, so that we'll always stay behind.
They don't have a choice though.
Okay, I like what Armand's saying.
Yeah.
I think I haven't read the source material, so I'm unsure. But I have listened to people who are deep into the weeds on this, and they are following like the DeepSeek researcher guys who are like publishing their reports, and they're like, we're literally bound by compute. So give us the compute power, and we can do better with our models.
So they will use it.
So I think they will use it.
Yeah, I brought it up like 4 weeks ago, like the Kimmy model is very legit. That's like another DeepSeek competitor that.
Man, I feel
You
like
know.
I've mentioned this guy Gavin Baker to you guys before. I feel like
I
he's-
think I mentioned him on the last,
Oh, you did.
or either way, I listened to Gavin Baker on Invest with the Best.
Oh, you did. Okay, good.
And it was fucking awesome.
It's epic. The guy's like understanding of how these GPUs actually work, how AI training actually works, and then to tie it in with like private and public markets. He's got this like lane that I feel like he's one of the very few who could swim down. And then when he explains it, it's slightly technical, but you can understand it as a layperson. And
So Gavin Baker is a guy that we have discussed years ago because he was probably like on a Invest with the Best previously. He just did his like episode 2 weeks ago, and the big takeaway I got from his stuff, he's like, well, right now the TPU from Google is performing at a lower cost per token, but that might be short-lived because the Nvidia Blackwell whole like system of chips is still being used for pre-training. We haven't gone to like training and inference yet. So once we get to that stage, it will likely be lower cost per token
and better.
And then the Rubin set of chips comes out for Nvidia. So I think like the way that I've always perceived it, just as like a bystander, it's like, man, the Nvidia FUD has gotten pretty thick. And I think
what did he say was the first model? Grok 5 is the first one that's trained on these Blackwell chips and will get released Q1 next year, maybe, or maybe a little later.
Yeah, right. He said like XAI is.
He's also an investor in XAI, so you got to take that part with the.
Right, you may take it with a grain of salt.
Yeah,
but
anyway, he's very very clear in his point of view, and it makes it easy to follow.
And I've like just seen how dramatic the shift has been from like, oh my God, Nvidia is going to eat the world, to, oh my God, Nvidia sucks, Google's going to eat the world. And that to me just seems like really short-sighted.
Yeah. They did touch on what Armand was talking, or what the three of us talked about 2 weeks ago, which is like, man, I wonder if it just does end up where like all this happens on your phone.
Yeah.
And you have privacy and there's a model that can like run. And they talked about that a little bit. And you could see still like a path where that ends up happening. Apple partners with Gemini, then Apple finds like the right technology to put in the phone where you can run this thing at the edge and it doesn't have to hit a bunch of servers or GPUs.
Yeah, like the like a Blackwell system is like 300 pounds or something. Like you can't put it on a phone.
Jesus.
But like maybe something that Qualcomm makes
Right.
can run on your phone.
I feel good about that.
Yeah.
Have you questioned your thesis about, you said when the AI infrastructure spend slows down, the CapEx slows down, but in there he talked about things getting more efficient, right? So CapEx could go down because the investment cost per token goes down. So does your kind of like test of, are we about to fall off a cliff, still hold?
I am very much concerned about the cliff. I think that this is not the cliff. I think that this is going to be one of several fake outs before the cliff. So I think this is actually a good time. Like, this is not financial advice or anything. This is just like me reading the tea leaves in my own manner, having gone through several iterations of technology paradigm shifts. What I see right now is just like investor sentiment changes. I don't think this is anything dramatic. If you are a believer in AI, if you're a believer in Nvidia, which I am, I think this is like a good time to buy and accumulate that ecosystem.
I was looking at Darius Dale puts out one of his slides every week. It's an investor positioning slide. And like one of them is like percentage stocks and percentage cash are two important ones, right? And basically percentage stocks was at like the 91st percentile, and the percentage cash was at like the 6th percentile. So it's basically saying investors have as much money in stocks as they've had 91% of the time, and as little cash as they've ever had. So usually that means is like there could be a correction, as like you mentioned, one of these sentiment shifts. And I looked at his little dashboard and it was just all red because of it. He's still very bullish as his kind of thing, but he's like, listen, positioning doesn't...
I've been waiting for a correction personally, but I still think like S&P goes up 10 to 15% next year. I think we have a decent year. But I'm definitely waiting for this like 20% market correction.
Well, we had one in April of this year.
Yeah.
So
I wouldn't be surprised if we have another one next year. I just don't know, who knows when.
I sort of feel like when you're marching toward a euphoric bubble, which I think we are doing, which precedes the actual cliff, I think you have several times like these where where like an investor is faced with the decision, is it over or not? And I just don't think it is.
Do you guys look at crypto anymore or no?
Yeah, I think
or Bitcoin.
I think I haven't looked at like crypto, meaning like
Bitcoin.
I haven't looked at altcoins in years, and I don't think I ever will ever again. I just don't care.
Have you looked at Bitcoin lately?
Yeah, I think it's like well, Steven just put out a note saying that he's all in on Bitcoin.
So do you think we still get a real rally to like 150K?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, next year.
I don't know the time frame in which we just like have this rally, but I just think that for the cliff to occur, which I think is coming, it's preceded by a euphoric bull market, which I haven't felt yet.
Yeah,
so,
I agree. I
think I was doing like the top down like market cap of Bitcoin projections, and I put it around 125K. So I think it still could go up, but
that was your call. You called basically like the top of it.
If only I would have made more money from that call. Another idea I heard recently, since we're kind of talking in a little investing, we can finish off with it, was Chem Carson. I found out he's building an RIA now.
Oh.
Where he's advising. And he said the thing that he's doing is a very strong diversification plan, but it's of non-correlated assets and strategies. And I was in the car, so I chatted with Gemini about like, what are all these? He listed off like 6 of them.
Yeah, he's mentioned a few.
How do you chat with Gemini?
You just put on the voice.
It doesn't work.
It works for me.
Really?
Yeah, it worked great.
I literally have never been able to do it.
So anyway, he's like, you don't just go long stocks in an era of like rising populism. He goes into like the characteristics, and he talks about like, I think 1962 to 1982 were like on a real basis, you lost money over those 20 years, and it was just a whole lot of chop. So he comes up with like, okay, you could be long stocks. That's one, right? That's a simple one we all know. Gold is a non-correlated asset. So you could add that in there. You could potentially add in other commodities as well. But then there's these other ones, which I've heard of, but I never knew you could actually buy in ETF format. So you could buy a managed futures strategy, which is a little like trend following, I guess. There's a closed-end fund arbitrage. So you buy these closed-end funds that are...
God bless.
I didn't have time to hit the mute button for you.
Thank you.
Where you buy these closed-end funds that are trading at a significant discount to NAV with the idea that they're going to close, not correlated with like the general stock market.
Right.
Currency strategies, private credit, infrastructure funds. You have like your tail risk, like selling vol.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, there was like a list of 14. I'm curious, have you ever come across this? Like a massively spread out portfolio of not just non-correlated assets, but non-correlated strategies.
Yeah, and I think I have 2, I guess, like main themes in which I want to respond. One is that like even if a asset is non-correlated, it tends to become correlated in a significant drawdown. So gold would fucking crash if we get like a market crash. The other thing that I would point out that I do like that Chem.
So we still don't really truly have a proper hedge.
Well, here's the way that you might do it. Like Chem's been a proponent of this exact strategy previously. He said, what we have here is probability versus convexity. Okay, so there's a probability that stocks crash from here, but there's also a probability that stocks go to the freaking moon from here. So how do you actually win under both scenarios? He said, if you short stock and long calls, that is your way to
within the same class.
Yeah, you can play the convexity game, and you'll like make more if the stock market actually moons.
Yeah,
as well.
He's basically running like an expected value calculation across the whole distribution of outcomes, and then using the highest risk reward at, the very left tail, the middle curve, the right curve. He's like, all these could happen. What's the probability? What's the dollar outcome? And then what's the cheapest way for me to like get exposure?
Which is what options traders do every day. This is like what options are. But I like that Chem's expression of it is, that's also my view of the world, is that like, I think we're going to see NASDAQ 50K. But I also see the cliff coming. Yeah. So it's like, how do you protect yourself against a cliff, but also participate in the opportunity that NASDAQ goes 50K?
You got a fat left tail, fat right tail.
Yeah.
He said that like, instead of just being long stocks, that right now, like poor man's version of what you were saying is just to be mostly in cash, but being long out of the money calls on the stock market, because most people, since we're kind of peaking, people are talking about the word bubble. They end up buying puts as insurance, which is the most expensive thing you could possibly buy right now.
The most lucrative thing to sell.
The most lucrative thing to sell. So he said, instead of having everything invested, just take a portion of your portfolio and go long calls, which are cheap, because that's still a probability.
Yep.
And yeah. Anyway, I thought that was an interesting way from a market maker's perspective.
Yeah, he's very good. He's very good, and I think he's accurate probably in his assessment of probability right now. I think that's probably right.
Yeah. Back to your original comment that they all kind of tend to correlate when you have big drawdowns. I think he would probably agree with that, but like in a lot of these strategies, the max drawdown is very, very limited, right? So they may all go down, but your Sharpe ratio should be higher, because like in those drawdown scenarios, you're not going to draw down 40% if the stock market goes down 40%.
Yeah, I think each one's different, right? So like if you're buying a discount to NAV, that's going to go down less than like commodities long strategy. He's talked about crypto long ? He's like put a question mark behind that one, because he's like, crypto might not be correlated, but it might be. I think it is.
It is. It definitely is.
Definitely
Trust
is.
me from personal experience. It is.
Totally is. So yeah, I think that different silos have different versions of that. But yeah, I think the easiest one is probably just like have long call exposure with cash is like a very good TLDR. He
talked about how a lot of people think hedge funds are these like crazy mathematicians or geniuses that like have strong opinions, but they're actually doing, they're doing this, which is buckets of non-correlated strategies most often. They're a little more complicated. Like he even talked about, I hate this investment, but it's life settlements. Have you guys heard of these?
No, what's that?
Okay, so let's say you're 60 years old, you have a life insurance policy that gives a benefit to, say, your children when you die. But let's say your children are adults now, they're totally fine, and you don't need to keep paying this like $1,500 a month for this life insurance policy. So you can sell it. And you sell it at a discount, obviously, to what the benefit is when they die. But the person who buys it has to pick up the premiums, obviously, until that person dies, and then they get the benefit. So, and oftentimes you're paying a lump sum to the person. So you're giving them like, hey, it's $1 million policy. Here's $450,000 now, and I'll continue picking up the premiums, and then I'll get some IRR if and when you die. basically. And he was talking about that as a non-correlated strategy. And I agree with him. It's a good non-correlated strategy. It's just it's got terrible mechanics.
People are living forever now.
That's an issue, but you're also hemorrhaging cash, every month in hopes that like they die sooner than the burn down chart of the doctor, assess their life at.
And then you have a perverse incentive too, which you don't want to be on the side of as an investor. It's like, I can't wait for you to die.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I've met people who've invested in these and they literally have Google alerts for the person's name set up for the obituary.
That doesn't feel good.
It can't feel good. Anyway.
Good one though. Good
non-correlated strategy. Yeah. All right, guys. Anything else before we wrap up?
No.
I think we're good.
No, that was a good episode.
Okay. All right, guys. This was the last episode of the year.
Damn.
It's been a good 2025.
Hell of a
See you guys
year.
next year. Hags.
Have a good summer.
Yeah, everyone have a good
good.
Christmas. Have a good New Year's.
Talk
Enjoy
to you
it.
in the Discord.
Yeah,
It's the only app I have left. I got off social media. Cleansing.
What about those Instagram links you
Yeah,
keep sending
you
Eric and
send
I?
us a lot,
I'm
bro.
off.
Okay.
Yeah, where did this come from?
I'm off.
All right, guys.
I need to uninstall Twitter.
We'll be back. I think it's January 7th. Sounds about right.
Is it that long?
Yeah.
So not Christmas,
Not New
Not
Year's.
in yours.
not New Year's. It's
A week
to the
after New
7th.
Year's.
Wow.
We'll
That's
see you
a
then, folks.
long time.
Yeah, we'll miss you. See you soon.
Send a postcard, people. All right.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining.
Love you.
Bye.
Bye.
Later.